All right. Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here today and listening in. Welcome to episode 8 of Let's Dig In with Maddie and Bri.
We are so excited you are here. We're going to dive into our top tips for taking control of emotional eating.
We've partnered with Healthy Steps Nutrition to support our clients using framework that is guided, tested, and proven. We believe that something as fundamental as nutrition shouldn't be complicated, which is why we focus on a simple habit-based approach. But we know that helping you become the healthiest version of yourself isn't just about what you eat or going to the gym a few hours a week. Have you ever realized that your nutrition choices are altered when you are stressed, bored, tired, or around certain groups of people? This is why we take a holistic approach focusing on nutrition, stress management, sleep, mindset, support systems, and lifestyle. All right, let's dive into today's topic.
So, what is emotional eating? Eating in response to positive but also negative emotions, which could be emotional overeating or stress eating. Emotional eating could look like taking a break from work and getting a snack even though you aren't even hungry. It could be eating in front of the TV because you're used to it. It could also be getting good news or bad news and turning to food.
Absolutely. Many of us eat due to emotion or environment, and we either don't realize it or we get disappointed in ourselves after the fact. But just because boredom or stress eating can be common in our daily lives does not mean we must be fractured by it. Research shows that when we take planned breaks, we're more productive. Our brains need a break from work. It's absolutely normal and healthy to give your brain a change in focus.
Yeah, and stress is normal part of our lives, but how we deal with it and manage it is extremely important. So, let's dive into 3 strategies to help you take control over your emotional eating.
Here are some positive outcomes we see when we stop eating from boredom or as a response to stress. You can see decreased bloating, stabilize blood sugar, which can improve your mood, reduce fatigue, increase your energy levels, improve brain and blood vessel health, and may even reduce your risk of nerve and kidney damage. You also might see decreased overall calories, often leading to easier weight loss, increased confidence and self-control, and you might even be saving on groceries.
Yes. Oh, wait.
Right.
Okay, I was just making sure. All right. So, because emotional eating is often linked to stress and boredom, it is important to stay aware. That's key. As stress eating is affected by emotions, triggering cravings for comfort foods, right? This is caused by an increase in cortisol, the body's stress hormone. Cortisol triggers the release of glucose into the bloodstream to provide quick energy. Cortisol can also increase the brain's desire for rewarding experiences. Foods high in sugar, fat, and salt activate the brain's reward system by boosting dopamine levels. When you're stressed and cortisol is high, your brain may crave these types of foods to stimulate that reward pathway, providing a temporary sense of comfort or relief. Let's discuss how to combat emotional eating the next time you are stressed or bored.
Yeah, so tip number 1 is going to be to practice mindful eating. Mindful eating is a practice that involves paying full attention to the present moment while eating without distractions and turning into your body's hunger and fullness cues. This approach can be especially helpful in managing stress eating or boredom eating. Practicing mindful eating takes awareness and intention at meal times. I know it's super hard to eat and not be checking your emails or eat and not be watching Netflix or, whatever it is, scrolling on your phone. Mindful eating has many benefits, including better digestion, improved satisfaction, and more control over your food choices. but how can you be mindful at meals?
Excellent question, Bri. So let's jump in. Number one, eat without distraction. Take time to eat your meals and snacks by turning off the TV. Try not to respond to messages or emails or scroll through your phone. Think about blocking off time in your calendar during the workday to eat undistracted. The next one, which is so important, is slow down when eating. Taking small bites, chewing thoroughly, and taking breaks, as in putting your fork down next to your plate, it is going to allow your body time to signal when you're full. Did you know that it takes about 20 minutes for your stomach to send a signal to your brain letting you know when you're full? Yeah. So it's imperative that we slow this process down. Don't inhale your meal and take breaks throughout, sipping on water, putting that fork down. Tip number 3 is engage in your senses. Notice the colors, smells, and textures of food. Focus on how it feels in your mouth and savor each bite. One of my favorites, tip number 4, is practice gratitude. Appreciate the food you're eating and the nourishment it provides, which can help shift your mindset from eating as an emotional escape to eating as a mindful and nourishing practice. If you can start practicing one of these this week, it will start to drastically change your relationship with your meals and emotions at meal times.
And so we just talked a lot about, eating without distraction. What about boredom eating? Maybe you find yourself getting bored when watching TV, doing homework in the car, or after the kids go to bed. Stop what you're doing and either turn off the TV or do something else. Read a book, go for a walk, call a friend. Changing up your routine with anything improves your creativity and your neuroplasticity. This is when the brain adjusts and responds to new situations or changes in their environment. Think rewiring for growth. So this is in other areas of your life. Try this especially when you're bored and thinking that you're hungry. Remember, we often make the mistake of thinking we're hungry when we are thirsty. So keep a glass of water, seltzer, or tea nearby to make sure you are hydrated. When it comes to eating, be sure to take a pause before eating. Take a moment to check in with yourself. Are you truly hungry, or is there an emotional or boredom trigger behind your desire to eat?
Yeah, so to continue on this line of boredom and boredom with eating, boredom can lead to mindless snacking or overeating as a way to fill the emotional voids. Unfortunately, this can have negative impacts on your health when mindlessly eating happens, such as creating a cycle of emotional distress and unhealthy eating habits. It can contribute to weight gain, naturally, poor nutrition, and a range of chronic health conditions such as obesity, diabetes, digestive issues, increased risk of heart disease, while also increasing the feelings of guilt or shame or anxiety. Over time, it can impair emotional regulation and make it harder to develop healthy coping mechanisms.
Yeah, I want to take a minute to talk about the 2020 rule. So this really helped me in my own weight loss journey, and it's helped a lot of different clients that Maddie and I have worked with. So the 2020 rule is when you feel like eating something, you have a craving, and you don't know if you're truly hungry yet, wait 20 minutes and grab 20 ounces of water. Remember, we just talked about that those hunger cues often get confused as hunger cues when they're actually thirst cues. So start with water, and then after that 20 minutes, if you are still hungry, then you're going into it with a wise state of mind where, you're not going to be emotionally binging on whatever that food is. So if you do try it out, let us know. But yeah, finding ways to address the root cause of emotional eating such as through mindfulness, even therapy, and healthier coping strategies, can help break this cycle and improve both mental and physical health.
Yeah, and if I could just add a little bit more to that, Bri's rule for 2020 has helped me immensely, personally speaking, even particularly in the evening time where I am craving that, dessert or I'm craving that glass of wine. I will make sure that I am drinking 20 ounces of water and waiting 20 minutes. And then that gives me mental clarity to make that decision out of want versus thoughtlessness. So that's a huge rule that I advocate for all of my clients as well.
I love that that's working well for you too.
So jumping into tip number 2, we are finding healthy alternatives. We have all been there. We are practicing mindful eating, changing routines, and creating better habits. But sometimes, when left to our own devices, we go back to what we know. This means that we have to pivot and change, find healthier alternatives to comfort foods that typically provide too many calories, are more processed, and will leave you wanting more. So, a few options that are good, healthy alternatives, right, are air popped popcorn, Greek yogurt, or cottage cheese. Herbal teas are a great option as well, or I like to do mocktails with seltzer waters if it's the alcohol that you're craving. At HSN, the first core principle is to focus on whole foods first. This is a great cue to remember when looking for healthy alternatives.
Right. So let's take it a step farther. Once you have been able to nail down some healthier alternatives, make sure that you have full satisfaction after a meal or snack. That's going to be key. This is why balanced eating will help you. You're going to be eating a balanced diet of mostly whole foods with a balance of protein, carbs, and fat that will keep you fuller and fueled for longer. When our bodies feel satisfied, it will be easier to ignore those temptations of over-consuming cravings when we feel stressed or bored.
Yes. So ideally, we have one small snack between each of our larger meals, which leads to about 2 snacks a day. Snacks, just like meals, should be well balanced, meaning they include a protein, carbs, and some fat at each snack time. So as you can see on our shared screen, there's some easy, balanced whole food snack ideas that you can try this week. And personally, I think my favorite would be the hard-boiled eggs with the cup of berries.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you there. Eggs are such a good way that protein paired with fat, and fruit is going to be that higher fiber carb that you're looking for.
Yeah, and nutrient dense, right? So all good things.
Yeah. All right, guys. Tip number 3 is engage in stress relieving activities. Overcoming emotional eating takes time, but having the right tools in place to help you is important. So let's explore some options for stress-free activities for when you are dealing with emotional triggers. You can start by keeping a food journal to help identify what is actually triggering the emotional eating. This is great to share with your nutrition coach or dietitian to help you decide which activity would be most beneficial for you to dive into during these times. It could be distracting yourself with hobbies or doing stress relieving activities that can replace eating when stressed. Taking a walk, stretching, meditating, or doing yoga is an excellent method to help you decrease your stress and your cortisol and decrease emotional eating tendencies.
Yeah. And it could be very simple, right? We're not trying to dive into super complex routines or new exercise variety here. It could be as simple as adding in a daily walk, especially in the morning or evening time or after meals, or beginner yoga videos. These are all trying to help support us regulating our emotions and kind of decompressing from those triggers.
1,000%. It always reminds me of kids too. If you're a parent listening in, whenever my kids are upset, I'll tell them walk away. And
Yeah.
sometimes we have to do that ourselves. If you're having these emotional triggers and you're wanting to overconsume and you're not really hungry, being in the kitchen is not a wise decision at that time. So take your own advice and walk away for a minute.
Yes, Jane's preschool will say motion changes emotion. So
I
that's what I
like
keep in. Yeah, right?
take away.
So, what to do when you feel the urge to eat and you don't have an activity to turn to that is non food related? So, first things first, stop. Right? When a stressor has triggered you and you're about to react, follow these 4 steps. First, we want to slow down. Take a breath, just like I tell Jane all the time, take a breath. Then we want to observe. What are you feeling in your body? What are you thinking? What other possibilities exist? Meaning, we don't want to make snap decisions. Proceed considering the multiple possibilities. If that's difficult to remember, we can always go back to box breathing, meaning we imagine the box ahead of us and we breathe in for 4 seconds, hold for 4 seconds, breathe out for 4 seconds, and then hold for 4 seconds, creating that box. Repeat as many times as you want or need until you're able to have a clear decision versus an impulsive decision. And also, this goes back to Bri's 2020 rule, too, right? So, the main point here is slowing down so that we don't make rash decisions.
Yeah, and this is really what's great too about having an accountability and nutrition coach. We've had, clients where they're in a situation where they're like, I feel like I'm about to start emotionally eating. And that's when you talk to your coach. Like that's what we're here for, is to help you walk through these moments. So we're definitely in it together. All right. So engaging in stress relieving activities offers numerous physical and mental benefits that contribute to overall well-being. Physically, these activities help lower levels of stress hormone cortisol, reduce your blood pressure, and improve heart health by promoting relaxation and better circulation. Mentally, stress relieving practices like exercise, meditation, or deep breathing can improve your mood, enhance focus, and reduce symptoms of anxiety and depression. These activities foster a sense of calm and balance, helping individuals develop healthier coping mechanisms and better emotional resilience in the face of daily challenges. Overall, incorporating stress relief into daily routines supports both physical health and mental clarity, leading to a more balanced and fulfilling life. Don't forget to track your progress. Tracking emotions and eating habits to identify patterns is super helpful. But it's great to see how far you've come in your journey. I love looking back at that too, of, how you were feeling emotionally and looking at your food log. And chances are your food log's going to be much better when you're feeling really good versus when you're not feeling so great. Building healthy habits over time creates consistency, and that consistency compounds into wins.
Yep, for sure. So, as we wrap up here, there are a few takeaways. It's time for you to take action and start implementing these strategies in your own life. Begin by identifying the best strategies for you to navigate emotional eating. Try them out this week. Consistency and commitment to yourself in combating emotional eating takes time. It's progress over perfection. But it is doable with focus, consistency, and accountability. Keep these important tips in mind as you take the next step towards controlling emotional eating. Mindful eating, incorporate healthy alternatives, engage in stress relieving activities.
Right on. Let's move on to some frequently asked questions. How can I tell if I am emotionally eating? So, if you find yourself eating when you're not physically hungry, or you turn to food for comfort during stressful or emotional situations, it's likely emotional eating. But other signs might be eating large portions really quickly, or eating mindlessly and then feeling guilty after eating. Remember to reflect before eating, slow down, chew your food, and be grateful for the food in the present.
All right, here's another question. How can I stop emotional eating? Well, the good news is the first step is watching our video, but also it's just what we already discussed, right? Mindful eating, paying attention to what you're feeling before you eat. Are you hungry or are you trying to soothe an emotion? Find healthy coping strategies like going for walks, journaling, talking with friends, practice relaxation techniques such as box breathing. Another one is eat balanced, regular meals, which avoid feeling overly hungry. So I talk about this with my clients all the time. On a scale of 1 to 10 in the hungers, we want to make sure we start eating between a 4 and a 5 rather than waiting between 8, 9, and 10, so that we can be in control of our decisions. Next, reflect on your emotional triggers and identify patterns to help you address the root causes instead of turning to food. This will help create emotional awareness.
Right on. And along with that emotional awareness, when it comes to that food scale, like Maddie said, thinking if you are at 4 out of 5 on a scale of 1 to 10, also when you're mindfully eating, you can stop more at a 7 or an 8 versus pushing yourself to that 10.
That's a good point too. Yeah.
All right, guys. So now that we have talked about tips to create solutions to control emotional eating, let's focus on the 3 core principles of our nutrition coaching program and what that's built upon. So a lot of these we have just talked about, which is number 1, focus on whole foods first, meaning you're going to eat your protein and your healthy carbs, your fiber-filled carbs, some fruit, and no sugar. Focus on your balance of macronutrients. You're going to have your protein, your carbs, and your healthy sources of fat. And also limit the number of processed carbs and sugar. These 3 core principles have helped over 45,000 clients around the world improve their health, increase performance, and reach their health and wellness goals. At the end of the day, we know it's not mostly about knowledge and education. It's about having support and accountability along your journey.
So, as we wrap up, I would like for you to take a moment or 2 and to reflect on everything we went over today. Which tips stood out the most to you? Share your thoughts and takeaways, and we'd love to hear them. So please feel free to direct message us or comment from the video. We would love to hear from you.
And before you go, we always like to talk about our nutrition coaching program. Maddie and I offer one-on-one coaching in person and also virtually. All new members will start out with a 12-week transformation membership. This includes an initial consultation, a customized meal plan, habit mapping, access to our amazing accountability, and regular scheduled appointments with one of us to keep you on track.
Yeah. In addition, we also launched 2 challenges throughout the year where you can kickstart your journey with group support. The best part is these challenges can be done anywhere. You do not have to be a CrossFit Glen Burnie member to participate. Our next challenge will be in October, so stay tuned.
Right on. Thank you guys for listening. Have a great day.